Hello everyone. So today we'll discuss the concepts of basics of climatology. Now, what is weather and what is climate, right? Now, weather is the day-to-day state of atmosphere in a region, right? Remember, it is day-to-day state, right? And climate is a statistical weather information, that is, it is the average of weather conditions over a period of time, right? Although sometimes these terms are used interchangeably, but they differ in terms of length of time they measure, right? So let's discuss the difference between climate and weather. Now, as I told you, climate describes the average condition at a specific place at a given time, right? So it includes five major components: atmosphere, hydrosphere, cryosphere, land surface, and biosphere. Now, on the contrary, weather, it describes the atmospheric condition at a specific place at a specific point in time, right? So it may be day to day temperature and pressure conditions. Okay, so climate, then it includes precipitation, temperature, humidity, sunshine, etc. over a long period of time. And on the contrary, weather includes sunshine, rain, cloud cover, winds, etc. over a short period of time, right? Now, climate, the study of climate is known as climatology. The study of weather is known as meteorology, right? Now, it is aggregate weather statistics over 30 years period, and this is real time measurement that we've already done, measured over long period and measured over short term. Okay, now what are the factors affecting the climate? Distance from the sea, ocean currents, direction of prevailing winds, distance from the equator, shape of land, El Nino phenomena, and these are the natural factors. Now, apart from the natural factors, there are anthropogenic factors also that affect the climate. Okay, so let's discuss each in detail. Now, the first one is distance from the sea, that is continentality. Now, remember one thing, the sea significantly affects the climate of a place. It has a moderating influence on the climate of coastal areas. You can see here the climate of coastal area. Here it is warm summers and cool winters. Remember, it is warm and cool. In the interior part, it is hot summers and colder. So it is hot and colder. So the range of temperature in the interior parts is high. The range of temperature in the coastal area is low, right? Why? Because the sea has a moderating influence on the coastal areas. Similarly, the temperature in Mumbai region will be significantly different from, or the climate in Mumbai will be different from climate in Delhi. Why? Because Mumbai has this, the Arabian Sea has a moderating influence on the climate of Mumbai, right? So the temperature range in Delhi will be more than Mumbai. Next, coming on to the direction of prevailing winds. Now, winds direction, they have a significant influence on the climate, right? How they affect the climate? Now, you can see it here. The winds which are onshore, you can see the blue ones, those are the westerlies. So the westerlies, they are onshore, that is, they carry the moisture from the North Atlantic Ocean and they cause rainfall in the Western European countries, right? On the contrary, the winds over the Sahara are offshore, that is, they move from the land to the sea. So they do not have moisture, right? So that is why this is this whole desert. So these winds, they significantly affect the climate of that place, right? Similarly, in case of India, the southwest monsoon winds causing monsoon or water rainfall in the summer season, right, in the month of June to September. And in case of winter, there is northeast monsoon in the southern Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So these are also the influence of prevailing winds over that region. Now, coming on to the ocean current, the next factor which influence the climate change. Now, ocean currents we've already discussed in one lesson. Now, how these affect the climate? There are two types of ocean current. One is warm. The red ones are shown in warm, right? And then there is cold. The blue ones are shown in cold current. The blue ones are cold, and the red ones are warm current. Now, warm current has a warming effect on the areas in which they flow, right? This Gulf Stream, the North Atlantic Drift, Kuroshio current, these all the red ones, they have this warming effect, right? That is why, as I told you in the ocean current class, that the ports in the Norway region, they are ice free. Why? Because of this North Atlantic warm current, right? And on the other hand, the cold current, how it affects the climate. Now, cold currents, they have a desiccating effect on the nearby areas. That is why in this Peru region, or in this region of Africa, we have Namib Desert. Here we have Atacama Desert. Here we have Mojave Desert. In the West Australian, due to West Australian cold current, we have this whole western part of Australia is desert. So how these cold currents are significantly affecting the climate of that area. Okay. Now the shape of the land or relief. Now relief also significantly affects the climate. How it affects the climate? You can see it here. As we move up the mountain, the temperature gradually decreases. Now why the temperature gradually decreases? This is because as we move, as the altitude increases, the air becomes thinner and it is less able to absorb and retain heat. That is why the temperature is gradually decreasing as we move up the mountain. Okay. Now coming on to the distance from equator. Now distance from the equator, it again affects the climate of place. This is because in the tropical region, here the rays of the sun are directly overhead, right? And that is why the intensity of sunlight here is high, right? On the contrary, there are slanting rays in the temperate region and the polar regions. That is why the intensity of sunlight is low. This is the reason that tropical regions have different climate and temperate regions and polar regions have different climate, right? Temperate regions are cooler, polar regions are frigid, and tropical regions are warmer. Okay. Now coming on to the El Nino concept. Now El Nino, this we've already done in one of the lessons. So it significantly affects the climate of that area. How it affects? See, in this case, this one is Australia and this is South America. So in normal conditions, as I told you earlier also, in the normal conditions in Australia, there is on the eastern part there is significant rainfall, and on the western part of South America there is Atacama desert. There are drought like conditions. Okay. But in the El Nino condition, the things get reversed. There is drought in the eastern part of Australia and there's rainfall in the western part of South America. So this is because of the El Nino conditions. Okay. Now coming on to the anthropogenic factors. Now after this industrial revolution, there is this whole industrialization and urbanization taking place. Now due to this, the forest cover has been significantly reduced. Now since the forest cover has reduced, so it has led to the increase in the amount of carbon dioxide. Now this increase in the amount of carbon dioxide as well as the other greenhouse gases, that has led to the concept of global warming. Now this global warming is leading to mean sea level rise, right? And this global mean sea level rise, it is expected that it may reach to 2 meter, like it may increase by 2 meter by the end of this century, right? And this 2 meter increase may lead to catastrophic consequences, especially on the coastal areas. Okay. So these are the natural as well as anthropogenic factors that affect the climate. Okay. Thank you.